Welcome to Bet On. I am Kelly Stewart, your host tonight. We're going to break down this week's NFL card with Gianni, the Great Gambler, and Marco D'Angelo. Let's get this week's show started. Woo! It's been a long week already, guys. Prime time Sunday and Monday night games. Real quick, I'm going to do a quick disclaimer. It is Wednesday. Don't forget, we film the show on Wednesday afternoons. Lots of things can change by kickoff on Sunday morning, so just keep that in mind. I'll go into that in a little bit more in depth here later on, but just a side note, please. Please don't get mad at me if I change my bet.
5 days from now.
It's tough. It is tough, and we always try to keep it honest, and I'll do my best going forward to let you guys know. But primetime games, Marco, I'm going to start with you. Sunday, Minnesota at Dallas. Dallas is now -3, total 47.5.
Yeah, Kelly, you look at this one. We got Dallas coming off the short week. They played on Monday Night Football last week against the Giants, a game that, you know, the score, you look at it, and it looks like they blew out the Giants, but they really didn't. It was a close game in the first half, then a couple turnovers in the second half, and then that last turnover at the end of the game. Did that change some money around Vegas? Because it was sitting before that right depended where you bet the game. If you bet it early or bet it late to determine whether you had a winner or loser. So probably for the books, they wanted to see it get off that number because that was a middle number where it was sitting at. Guy scoop and score. And then there was a flag, and nobody, it was like...
That didn't even get addressed. Listen, I was pissed because I played the Giants -7 or +7 earlier in the week. Thought, okay, I'll play the number in a rivalry game. I knew Dallas was good. I knew you were on Dallas. The back door was wide open, but that just was annoying.
Yep, I enjoyed it. But and we had it two ways in that game because that was the second half of my teaser closing up from Detroit on Sunday. So I enjoyed the Monday night game with that one. But here, I'm going to look at it. This is a bad spot for Dallas returning back home off of the short week. Yeah, Minnesota's playing their second game in a row on the road, and their third in the last 4. And sandwiched in between those games, they had that Thursday night game at home. So they had a short week and 3 road games. Not a good schedule for them. Kirk Cousins last week couldn't get it done against Kansas City, and I am shocked. The biggest thing I took out of the Kansas City game last week was the fact that Minnesota only ran the ball 27 times.
I was going to say the fact that Dalvin Cook didn't run against that terrible run defense in Kansas City.
If he's running the football, we get good Kirk Cousins. If he's not running the football, we get bad.
Touche.
And I think they're going to be able to run the football this week against Dallas. We know Dallas is going to try to run the football in the last 2 weeks. Dak's pretty similar to Kirk Cousins in the fact that he plays better when the running game is working.
When they feed Zeke.
And they fed Zeke the last 2 weeks, 36 rushes, 189. 30 rushes, 172 the last 2 games. But you're not going to do that against the Minnesota defense. So I think Dak's going to have a little bit of a problem in this one. I look for Kirk Cousins. I can't remember the last time he won a primetime game. Can you?
Yes, yeah. I do. Give me a second. I'll think about that.
Okay, VR, but I'm taking them anyways.
There you go. VR, talk to me. How about this Sunday night game? Are you guys seeing any action on either side, Vikings or Cowboys?
No money on the side or on the total from any of the betting syndicates I have access to or any other movers I share information with. Nobody's gotten down on this game yet. I agree with Marco. I like the Minnesota side here. Dallas has been the beneficiary of turnovers the last 2 weeks. They've looked great, but they've forced 7 turnovers.
They beat the Redskins on Thursday night, but they did not cover.
That's it. Did not cover.
I knew there was a primetime game. Sorry.
I mean, no, it's not hard to win when you do that, and especially against the New York Giants. But for me, I think Minnesota is in a good spot here because of also what Marco touched on. You can't run on them. I mean, over the last 5 games, I think only one team even tried more than 20 rushing attempts against them. And that's going to be a problem. If Dallas ends up a little one-dimensional and doesn't have the spoon working overtime, they could be in trouble at home.
Kelly, one last stat for you on this one. I know how much you love Coach Zimmer. I know you got a man crush on him.
He's the best.
It's okay, How about this? Off of a road loss, since he's been the coach of the Minnesota Vikings, 17-5 against the spread in the next game.
I like it. I like it. I think I've used that one a couple of times this year. He does get that team to bounce back well. Let's talk about Monday Night Football. Seattle at San Fran. San Fran -6, total of 46.5. I'm kind of done stepping in front of the 49ers, you guys. I don't know about you. That's not very much fun. Remember that one time I took the Browns? That was awesome. So, yeah, I don't have a big opinion here. I'd love to make a case for the dog. I'm just not going to because Russell Wilson does have a decent underdog record, but Jimmy G.
Save your money.
All right, VR, what are you seeing over there?
We haven't bet this game yet. I love the San Francisco side. This team's for real. I mean, they are probably the most impressive team so far this season based on who they've played. Their schedule has not been easy, and they've done damage. Again, Seattle's one of those teams where year by year we're seeing that defense get weaker and weaker and weaker. And they're a team that has to run the football to have any success offensively. They're that run mentality, and you're not going to be able to do that against San Francisco. I think it's going to be a long afternoon for Seattle, a long evening, excuse me. I like San Francisco. Jimmy G, baby.
So just fun little Twitter follow if you guys aren't following. Jimmy Vaccaro, pretty legendary bookmaker here in town. He always tweets out the same Sharp Groups tickets throughout the week. They always bet $33,000 to win $30,000. They played San Fran -6, so that's something to consider here. At least if you're wanting to take the other side, just note that. Marco, are you going to make a case for the dog?
Well, I want to say to Seattle, F you, okay? Because last week...
That was bad.
Okay, I had Tampa Bay last week, and they did everything but cover the game. Seattle, they're getting it done. Russell Wilson is the MVP in the NFL right now. If the season ended today, no doubt in my mind he would win the MVP. But he's going against a real legitimate defense. San Francisco, number 2 ranked defense in the NFL. But you look at this one, no team's thrown for 300 yards against the 49ers this year. Think about that.
That's crazy.
No team has hit for it. In fact, only one team has thrown for more than 205 yards against them. They bring the heat, and I think that they're going to put pressure on Russell Wilson. They're going to be smart enough to keep a spy on him so that he doesn't get the job done with his feet. And you talk about Jimmy G, you know, the hype is there, but here's the fact. He's 20-3 straight up as a starting quarterback.
Woo!
20-3.
They let up so many yards rushing last week. That defense has to step up.
The last week was a bad spot.
I got to cut you guys off. Great stuff. We're going to step out for a quick break, but when we return, we're going to dig inside those numbers as we look at which NFL games have moved the most and why.